All right, y'all. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you're tuning in. I'm grateful to have you here. And we got my man, Jordan Peterson, back in the building, one of the most authentic and enlightening geniuses of our time. And I actually don't know what the subject matter we're diving into today is, but no matter what, I'm sure it'll be a doozy. So stay till the end if you want to hear my input and perspective. Let's get it popping.
Stop drinking too much. How do you know if you're drinking too much? You regret what you do when you're drinking. It's interfering with other important goals. It's causing you financial distress. It's getting you in trouble with your friends or your family. It's getting you in trouble with the police. Stop abusing substances if you can, right? If you see that they're hurting you. Physical health. Are you in decent shape? Are you strong and coordinated? And if you're not, you'd be better if you were. You'd feel better. You'd be more effective. You'd live longer. You'd be less sick. And you really see that mount up. Like if someone's been in shape once in their life, they age way better. And it's also a really good way of maintaining your cognitive ability. Like, you hear about those exercises that you can do online to make you smarter and keep your cognitive ability intact. Yep. Those don't work. There's no evidence that they work. Exercise works. Cardiovascular and weightlifting, you start to decline in your fluid intelligence at about the age of 25. And it's a linear trend downhill, and it can accelerate as you get older. It's just like this, quite ugly. If you exercise, you stave that off. Maintain your relationships and foster them. So when I look at successful people, they're really good at something. They're reliable, right? You can count on their word. They're generous, and they have a wide connection network, which becomes more and more valuable as you get older. So it's one advantage that older people really have over younger people. They have a connection network, and a connection network is
huge.
Well, you could be connected to 1,000 well-connected people. Okay, that means you are connected to the entire world. Right, it's unbelievably valuable. And that's one of the things that's so absolutely remarkable about the situation that I'm in right now. As far as one of the great benefits is I can contact pretty much anybody and they'll talk to me. It's like, really? That's so cool. Having a connection network is of inestimable value. Reliability, generosity, you can work on both of those. Philosophical sophistication, it's very useful because it orients you properly. You have a sophisticated sense of the world. You find, for example, that doing things for other people is actually more rewarding than virtually anything else you can do. When you hear you should be of service to other people. Well, if you actually watch yourself, you pay attention to yourself and you do something that helps someone else and it genuinely helps them, I defy you to find another experience that is that satisfying. It's actually quite stunning how satisfying that is. And so that's a very useful thing to realize. There's no better life strategy. If the ethical argument is put properly, it is by far the most compelling argument. It's like if you want to have everything you could possibly want and more, then be a good person. The better a person you are, the more likely that is to happen. That doesn't mean that you're completely protected against getting cut off at the knees, but there's no better strategy. When my health fell apart and I was in the hospital or multiple hospitals for long periods of time, I stopped doing everything I was doing. And everything I was doing was difficult. My clinical practice was difficult. The professorial job was difficult. The company I was running was difficult. The writing was difficult. The lecturing was difficult. It was all difficult. And I'm not complaining about the difficulty. I actually loved that. That was fine. I'm not complaining about it at all. But because it was difficult, I have to be in really good shape to do it. And so then I wasn't in really good shape. And so because I wasn't in really good shape and everything I had done was difficult, I didn't know what to do. And I couldn't get back on top of things because it was like trying to jump into a car going 200 miles an hour. It's very easy for us to call people who are doing something that we're not doing stupid. It's like, don't be so sure about that, And it would have been better for me if I would have had a wider variety of skills that weren't so high intensity. I could have had some leisure activities that I got good at. Music might have been good, that weren't so demanding. See, what I tried to do, if I saw something was difficult, I wanted to master it. I was driven to do that, just to see how far I could go in these multiple directions. And that left me vulnerable to one thing. It left me vulnerable to being in a situation where I wasn't healthy enough to manage it. Someone asked me the other day, do you regret the pathway that you've taken? And that's a question that's worth considering. And the basic answer is, well, I don't know, I guess, in some sense, because if you become extremely ill, especially if it isn't clear why, you don't know what you might have done to contribute to it because you don't know what it is. And people say, well, you went on this 160 city tour in a year. Maybe that was too much. It's like, it didn't seem like too much. I really enjoyed it, actually. Right. It was great, but it was also very intense. And I did expose myself to a lot of misery, meeting people, so many thousands of people. I opened myself up to a tremendous amount of misery and longing and pain. And that was very emotionally impactful. But I can't say with certainty that what the consequence of that was. I mean, I'd worked as a clinical psychologist for decades, and I had to deal with people who were in trouble all the time. And that was actually an extraordinarily positive enterprise, because although I was dealing with very serious issues and people were in trouble, they were on a good path and getting better, and we were collaborating in that. So it was a lovely enterprise. I loved it. It. In deep conversations, meaningful conversations devoted to making things better. It was great. I've been opening up my day to work more and more. So now I work from 3:30 to 6, fairly intensely every day. And I started 1 day a week, and then it was 2, and then it was 3. And then I could see, was I better when I was working, or was I better when I wasn't working? And the answer was clear. I was better when I was working. And it wasn't just clear to me, it was clear to the people who were watching me. And so it looks to me that also indicates that it probably wasn't the work. I think it's possible that just too many things happened at once. That's possible. It certainly distracted me, right? And so maybe I wasn't paying attention to exactly the right thing.
Man, that was one of the most eye-opening and authentic interviews that I've ever seen. It was honest, and Jordan, he always has my respect, and God bless him and Lewis Howes for having him on, because he shows you that he's a human being, and he's also legit genius at the same time, because we all battle temptation. We all are plagued with darkness at some point in our life, whether you're battling an addiction to work, pornography, alcohol, whatever it may be. We all have to keep on getting back up, because we're only here on this side of the grass one time. So what you gonna do? Curl up in a ball, cry, whine, give up? You can't give up, because there's always going to be a way out. Through every trial and tribulation you face, God is going to give you a path that you can take to slowly creep up out of that gutter that you're in, that rock bottom feeling that your heart is sinking with right now. You can get up out of that situation. If you're seeing this right now, know that you can get up. You can commit moving forward to take steps in the right direction to progress towards the person, man or woman, that you want to be in the long run. 1 Corinthians 10 verse 13 says, "No temptation has overtaken you that is not common to man. God is faithful, and he will not let you be tempted beyond your ability. But with the temptation, he will also provide the way of escape that you may be able to endure it." So you might not see it at that moment, but Paul did warn us in that verse right there about being overconfident. So whether you're striving in work and your momentum, everything is firing on all cylinders, at any given point, you can fall off. So you have to keep on leaning on the Lord, and thinking you're stronger than you actually are can cause you to be vulnerable, just like Jordan was talking about. And the real promise of hope in this verse right here in 1 Corinthians 10 verse 13 is the fact that God will always provide you with the strength to say no, you and I. So God's strength is our strength to bear. You just have to embrace that. And I got to hit y'all with another one, because I wouldn't be helping you and helping myself and helping somebody along the way, because that's where we're called to do, is to serve. Romans 5 verse 3 through 5, I have to give that to you. More than that, we rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope. And hope does not put us to shame, because God's love has been poured into our hearts through the Holy Spirit, who has been given to us through Jesus Christ, because he took on that cross to beat all the evil in the world, to take all the sin in the world on. So when you look to him, you're saved. When you claim him as your savior, when you start walking like Jesus walked, when you start looking to him, you don't have to bear all the suffering on your own. You can lean on him. Stop leaning on your own understanding. Stop conforming to the patterns of this world, because everyone in this world will experience a tough time, whether you lose a family member, whether you fall into an addiction like I did with women and pornography and things of that nature, or Jordan with all the things and demons that he's battled. You have to keep on looking to the Lord to get up out of that. If you try to do it on your own, you keep trying to create your own path and your own journey, you're just going to end up in the same rerun. It's going to be like Groundhog Day all over again. Eventually, you're going to get that momentum back, and then you're going to fall again and again and again until you fill that void with the Lord, with the Lord's love, with that peace and understanding. Now, you may not be a person of faith, but I am, because I've been on the other side. I've been trying to create my own path, and it always winds up back in anxiety, depression, addiction. All that stuff will take heed and take over your everyday life again if you keep on trying to lean on your own understanding and keep on trying to be the God of your own life. There's one God. There's one truth. Truth isn't relative. It's absolute. And no matter his truth, your truth, my truth, there's one truth. That's God's truth. And he knows that we can become stronger through conflict, through all the situations he puts us in. We might not be able to fathom and deem why it's happening, why these evil things happen in the world, but he gave us free will. So when people don't take the godly path, when they're not looking to Jesus, when their life isn't based in this foundation right here, the rock, the Bible, basic instructions before leaving earth, then they're going to choose temptation and sin and selfish tendencies every single time. That's why you see all these demons and sin-filled actions going on in the world. But when you push through them and persevere through them, you're going to grow stronger. And God's ultimate love is our redemption. And from the suffering we experience as we navigate through these difficult times in our lives, our moment of rejoice comes when we realize that no matter how bad our lives and situations become, no matter how long we're addicted, there's always hope and a chance for new life every single day. Keep renewing your mind day by day. And that's what I'm going to always lean on. You might think it's cheesy. You might think looking to Sky Daddy or whatever y'all call him nowadays is wrong, but that's the way. That's Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, the life. And I'm always put all my eggs in that basket because he changed my life. My testimony is when I found the Lord, when my wife directed me on the righteous path, everything got better. I didn't have to think that I had to have it all figured out. When life got tough, when I was bogging down from working hard or out there chasing women, diving into porn, whatever it may be, whatever you face, diving into alcohol and leaning on that bottle, eventually you're going to crash. And if you don't have somebody to catch you when you crash, to save you, to buckle up and fasten up, you're gonna fall, crash, die, burn. It leads to death. The wages of sin are death. So if you keep battling back at life with sin and diving into those actions, eventually you're gonna burn out and it's all gonna fall by the wayside. But when you have faith, when you have somebody backing you up, that's the Lord, that's Jesus Christ who took on the cross when he didn't have to, it's going to be all good. And I got to hit y'all with one more because why not? This is the most beautiful thing in the world, is diving into that scripture and letting that lead your life and getting you through whatever situation that you are facing right now. Jeremiah 17 verses 7 and 8 says, "Blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord, whose trust is the Lord. He is like a tree planted by water that sends out its roots by the stream and does not fear when heat comes, for its leaves remain green. And it is not anxious in the year of drought, for it does not cease to bear fruit." So when you're basing your life and all the ways you're walking in the Lord, even when you stumble, when you still have that foundation built in the Lord, you're going to thrive in your season. When it's time to get through whatever it is, you're going to bear fruit. You're not going to experience that drought forever. Keep your eyes forward, keep your eyes on the Lord, love God, love your neighbor, and remember that God is the way maker. This is my shirt. I have to at least explain what it means. God is the way maker, the miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, and you got to lean on him and put that addiction down, whatever it may be for you. But hey, I know I get off onto some long tangents, and I'm not going to apologize for it because I know it'll help somebody out there. At least I'm praying that it does. I'm praying for you regardless of what you believe. If you think my opinion and my faith is crazy or not, it's unshakable. That's what it is. So if you like what I'm doing over here, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell if you're new so you can stay up to date on all future videos. Share this video if you think it can help somebody else out there, whether it's Jordan's speech with Lewis or whatever I just delved into and exhibited on screen. If you think it can help somebody, share this video. And if you want to support the channel even further, you can buy this awesome Waymaker shirt made by my wife over on her Etsy store. She's got a bunch of Christian designs and things of that nature. Go check that thing out, linked in the description and the pinned comment. Outside of that, you can always buy me a coffee, join the Patreon fam, check out the links and products that I use to make these videos possible. You don't got to do any of that at all. Just showing up, allowing my freckle face to take over your screen for a few minutes. I'm forever grateful for you. So until next time, I love y'all. I'm praying for you. Godspeed. I'm gone.